Hello, this is Blue Star, defender of Equestria, and this is my afterthoughts review of Once Upon a Zeppelin. I just love this episode. It's just so cool. It's just so nice seeing Twilight and her family having a nice family vacation, even though it didn't quite go exactly to plan. And Twilight did not get to see the one thing that she wanted to see, and it was kind of sad, but it all works out in the end because they all get to have a nice family vacation together, so yo! I do have to say, I wish I'd thought of all the things that Dr. Wolf had said in his review, because pretty much everything he said was right, and it's like, darn, I wish I'd thought of that. Yes, well, first of all, it's definitely really cool to have Iron Will be back. He's really cool. He got him good, too. You know, it's at first it's like, what, Iron Will? This was just positively evil of you. But actually it wasn't, because, you know, he actually lined all this out in the contract and that they signed it. So, so it's one of the many sub-lessons during this episode. It's always read the fine print. Especially when you win a vacation from a contest that you didn't even know that you entered. As Dr. Wolf said, it's every pony at the end got what they wanted. Except for Twilight, because she didn't get to see the Orphan Stars, but she did get to make up for it by, you know, having a cool experience with her family, so, yo! And it was also nice to just have an episode where the royal family could just be a family, and just go on a vacation, and just chill, and just have a good time, and yo! Because, yeah, it's even the princesses need a break sometime, because otherwise they'll go insane like any pony would, so... But unfortunately for them, it didn't quite start off so well because they were set up. But, you know, it's again, but there was nothing really evil about this. It just wasn't very nice. But, and I do have to say that I think this episode handled the fan issue way better than Fame and Misfortune. Because, as Dr. Wolf said, it's neither condoning this behavior, but it's not condemning it either. It's kind of leaving it up to the audience to decide. But I do have to say that, yeah, definitely most of these fans were kind of pushing a little bit too far. But that was kind of the point of this episode, is that, yeah, these characters are pushing a little bit too far, and Twilight has to learn to push back just a little bit and say, you know, could you please, you know, back off just a little bit? Because most of these ponies are reasonable, you know, especially at the very end. It's oh, of course, Princess Twilight, we'll give you some space, that's fine, you know, it's okay, you know. There are parts of me thinking, even Iron Will might have been willing to let Twilight, you know, see the Orphan Stars. It's if Twilight had said, you know, okay, as part of the deal, it's okay, I would like my family to do whatever they want to do, but I want to do just one thing and just see the Orphan Stars, and that's it. I think even Iron Will might have been willing to agree to that. But yeah, I definitely liked this episode a lot because it was kind of fun, but it was kind of dealing with some sort of, definitely a lot of real world stuff. I certainly understand this because, you know, we all have responsibilities and things that we have to do, and, you know, especially with dealing with fans, it's you want to make your fans happy, you want to do whatever the fans want you to do, but sometimes you gotta say, no, or or not right now, I'm working on something, or I just want to chill out and not do something. Oh dear. So yeah, I mean, yeah, saying no to fans is sometimes one of the hardest things you can do, but, you know, but you have to learn when and how to say that. I mean, obviously, you can't just say no all the time, and you can't just do whatever the fans want you to do all the time. It's you know, it's somewhere in the middle is where you got to figure that out. As they said at the end of this episode, it's you have to figure out where that line is. And it can be very difficult to see where that line is, but but as Caden says, you know, when you have a big responsibility like taking care of a child, all of a sudden that line gets a lot easier to see. And that was kind of another interesting thing, you know, I've thought about this episode, was that Shining Armor and Cadence, they're taking care of the kid all by themselves. Considering that they're royalty, they have a whole castle full of ponies that'd be willing to help them. You know, they do all this stuff themselves, and they don't need, you know, assistant ponies. They do everything themselves. So good for them! I like that, that's cool. And again, it was nice to just see, you know, the princess and Shining Armor just be a wife and husband with a young child going on a cruise. It was cool, yo! And it was also interesting to see Flurry Heart kind of just being a baby and stuff. I do have to say, I kind of liked it when, you know, she was playing with the other kids, because she was, well, playing with the other kids. She was picking them up and putting them on, stacking them, and, at one point, Kate's just uh-oh. It definitely is no, dear, please don't do that. Another interesting thing with Cadence is, during that scene where Twilight comes and says, well, you know, I want to be a good princess, there's, she has this look of, It's like, no, Twilight, you are already a good princess. You don't need to prove to anybody that you're a good princess. It's like, I like that. That was kind of cool. I like that. And again, you know, at the end, she had some pretty interesting expressions, too. Obviously, she understands this. She gets this. She's probably been where Twilight's been. And obviously, she wants to help Twilight figure this out, and to help her to see that line, and, you know, to hopefully help her set some boundaries. I really did like that scene at the end. It was really good. It was a more practical thing. That was the thing I liked about this episode. It feels, you know, there's no magic, there's no giant monsters or anything in this episode. It's just these characters on a cruise. You'd forget that there's magic even in the show at all during this episode. And I like that, because, yeah, I mean, it really is just about simply setting boundaries and stuff. And also almost the sub-lesson is that, you know, what you want matters. It's like, there was almost, I had a thought that, you know, maybe the line that Caden should have said is like, you know, what do you want, Twilight? You know, it's like, I just want every pony to be happy. The follow-up line should have almost been, well, if that were true, you wouldn't have lashed out at Star Tracker, and you wouldn't be feeling so upset right now. Because clearly what you wanted matters to you. Sort of a thing. Because, yeah, it's like, obviously Twilight's all upset because she's done all this stuff for all these other ponies, and she didn't get to do the one thing that she really wanted to do, so she's obviously upset about that. And I kind of like the sub-lesson. It's like, it's almost like saying, you're allowed to be upset about that, you know, and all that sort of a thing. Reminds me of a line from Star Trek Generations, like, Captain, it's not all right. Sort of a thing. I mean, this is starting to get a little sort of off topic. I mean, it really is more about setting boundaries, but yeah, it does feel like, yeah, Twilight is not being entirely honest here. It's like, yeah, she wants the ponies to be happy, but she wants to be happy too. And that's fine. It's like, nobody says that just because you're a princess that you can't be happy, that you can't have what you want. You just have to set some boundaries and, you know, sometimes be a little bit more assertive and say that, okay, I'm more than willing to sign autographs and do all this stuff, but I do want to do this one thing, you know, would that be possible? I honestly do feel that Iron Will probably would have been receptive to that. He may be aggressive / assertive, but he's not a bad guy. Sort of. He's just not very nice sometimes, because sometimes he's a little overly assertive and it goes into aggression. But still, I think that, yeah, even he would have been reasonable and probably said, okay. Putting all that aside, there's still a pretty fun episode. We did get to learn a lot about the characters, you know, even little subtle things like Shining Armor likes tiny things. That was kind of funny because I was like, oh, it's probably because he's a big, huge guy. But it must have been, I'm going back, I remember I saw him, it was like, I love tiny things, and he's hugging his daughter. It's like, aw, that was cute. That was nice. I did like how we got to learn a little bit, even little tiny things about each of the characters, and they got to actually be characters. Like, Mom and Dad are not just, you know, background characters. It's like, oh, Twilight's a princess now. Here's her mom and dad, all crying and happy. Yay! It's like, no, they're actually characters now, and they actually have character now. It's basically, it's like, you know, Dad likes bingo. It's like, the mom is an adrenaline junkie. Who would have thunk it? I never would have imagined Twilight's mom being an adrenaline junkie, and I thought that was so cool. And it was never sub-lesson. It's like, you know, some people's ideas of a relaxing are, you know, completely different from other people's relaxing. For some people, relaxing means lying on a beach and having nothing to do. And for some people, relaxing means doing something dangerous, like being put in the barrel and then kicked over a waterfall. And the best part is, they're paying for that? Because that was really funny. It's like, you know, I'm going back and watching the scene. It's like, I see the pony, we put it in the barrel, put the lid on top, and then the goat kicks it over the waterfall. It's like, they're paying for this too? To each their own, I guess. I thought that was just funny. I really enjoyed this episode because I honestly relate to this issue a lot, and I definitely need to learn how to apply this lesson myself, because I definitely need to learn this lesson myself and set some boundaries and definitely manage things a lot better. And I think a lot of people may not, you know, understand this, but I think a lot of people probably will. It definitely was nice to see all these characters just allowed to be just ponies and just have a nice vacation. And we even got to see a little bit into their characters, and we got to have Iron Will come back and all that, and I thought it was just really, really cool, and I definitely enjoyed this episode a lot. So, that is the end of my Afterthoughts review of Once Upon a Zeppelin. This is Blue Star. Stay strong and pony on. Blue Star out.